All right, Rach. U.S. climate envoy and former Secretary of State John Kerry is now facing calls to step down for reportedly telling Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Zarif that Israel attacked Iranian forces in Syria. Iran remains the #1 state sponsor of terrorism on the planet right now. And joining us for more on all of this, former Chief of Staff at the National Security Council and former CIA analyst Fred Fleitz, back with us on this very busy Tuesday morning. Fred, good morning. Nice to see you again.
Hey, Rob. Good morning.
Fred, what do you make of the timing of all of this as the U.S. and Iran, they're scheduled to go back to the table this week for a third round of negotiations to try and rejoin the Iran nuclear deal. What do you make of the timing?
Well, I think Foreign Minister Zarif certainly did not want this released before there was some type of settlement in the nuclear deal. A reporter leaked this tape, which Zarif made for reasons I don't understand. And I think it's going to affect the talks, but I think both Iran and the U.S. are so determined to get a deal on Iran's terms, there's going to be a bad deal anyway.
All right, so John Kerry was quick to deny the allegations. He actually tweeted last night, fairly late, I can tell you that this story and these allegations are unequivocally false. Do you expect the Biden administration to say anything about this today?
Well, let's start with something we need to understand. Kerry has two choices: deny it or resign. There's no middle ground here. He allegedly compromised intelligence and put the lives of Israeli citizens at risk. If this is true, he cannot serve in government. So, of course, he's denying it. He puts the Biden administration in a very difficult position because why would Zarif lie about this?
Right.
And I got to tell you, I don't think this happened during the Obama administration. I think this happened when Kerry was jetting around the world trying to undermine Trump's Iran policy.
Major violation of the Logan Act, if that is true, by the way. Former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has intimated that on many occasions. He's been saying for years that John Kerry has continued to basically have policy discussions with Zarif and others as a private citizen, which is a violation of the law. Alaska Senator Dan Sullivan is now calling for the climate czar to step down. Take a listen.
John Kerry's record of undermining working families and working against American national security interests is too much to bear. He needs to go.
Fred, you know this stuff better than almost anybody out there. Shouldn't there, at the very least, be an investigation?
You know, there really has to be an investigation. I don't think there's any chance there's going to be one, or Biden will get rid of Kerry. But, you know, if Kerry learned about this while he was out of office, that's because he was allowed to keep his security clearance. Remember how President Trump was pulling security clearances of former Obama officials? If there's a Republican who takes the White House in 2024, this is a reason why I think security clearances of every Biden official needs to be pulled so they don't use them to undermine the foreign policy of the next Republican president.
That's a good point. Do you expect this to affect negotiations, which are going to pick back up again this week?
It's going to come up, but I believe that the U.S. is well on its way to giving Iran everything it wants in the nuclear deal. So I think it'll lead to some awkward moments. But I think Iran is going to win these sham talks in Vienna.
Quickly, Fred, I just wanted to get your take on Russian dissident Alexei Navalny. He is now eating again, and he is the biggest opponent of Vladimir Putin in the country. He's very popular within that country as well. There have been protests throughout Russia in support of Navalny. What do you make of this?
I think Navalny is popular to some extent in Russia, but I mean, polls I've seen show that most Russians don't like him. I mean, he has a lot of support from younger Russians. He went on a hunger strike to try to make a point. I think Navalny realized the Russian government was not going to give in to him. And I think Navalny is creating an enormous problem for the Russian government abroad, which Putin is trying to deal with.
It amazes me that the Russian people aren't more eager, or at least vocal, and I understand why. It's a communist regime. But, I mean, Vladimir Putin's been there more than 20 years now. He took over for Boris Yeltsin, who took over for Gorbachev, who was in there when Ronald Reagan was in there, and George Bush. So Vladimir Putin has been in power for a long time, 20 years. It's amazing that he remains.
There's revolution fatigue in countries like Russia. That's one reason why the Russian people will put up with people like Putin.
Yeah, he's got a stronghold on power there. Fred Fleitz, we appreciate all the information. We covered a lot of ground. Nice to see you again.
It's good to be here.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.